Welcome back everyone. Today we are going to start chapter 14, Chemical Effects of Electric Current. Your elders might have cautioned you against touching an electric appliance with wet hands. So you should not touch a electric appliance with a wet hands. But do you know why it is dangerous to touch an electrical appliance with wet hands? We have learnt earlier that the materials which allow electric current to pass through them are good conductors of electricity. On the other hand, materials which do not allow electric current to pass through them are poor conductors of electricity. So in class 6 we have made a tester to test whether a particular material allows the electric current to pass through it or not. Do you recall how the tester helps us in deciding that? We found that materials such as a copper and aluminium conducts electricity. So you can see here is a good conductor of electricity, whereas materials such as rubber, plastic and wood do not conduct electricity. So we know that wood, plastic and rubber do not conduct electricity. However, so far we have used our tester to test materials with which were in solid state. But what about liquids? Do liquid also conduct electricity? Let us find out. Paheli and Bojo want to remind us that one should not experiment with the electric supply from the main or a generator or an inverter. Use only electric cell for all the activity suggested here. So 14.1, do liquids conduct electricity? So to test whether liquid conduct electricity current to pass through it or not, we can use the same tester. So you can see in figure 14.1. So here you can see. However, replace the cell by a battery. Also check before using the tester, we should check whether it is working or not. Activity 14.1, join the free ends of the tester together for a moment. This completes the circuit of the tester and the bulb should glow. However, if the bulb does not glow, it means that the tester is not working. Can you think of the possible reason? It is possible that the connections are loose, or the bulb is fused, or your cells are used up. Check that all the connections are tight. If they are, then replace the bulb with another bulb. Now test it if the tester is working or not. If it is still not working, then replace the cell with the fresh cell. So now that our tester is working, let us use it to test the various liquids. So caution, while checking your tester, do not join its free end for more than a few seconds, otherwise the cells of the battery will drain very quickly. So activity 14.2, collect a few small plastic or rubber caps of discarded bottles and clean them. Pour 1 teaspoon of lemon juice or vinegar in 1 cup and then in 1 cap, bring your tester over the cap and let the end of the tester dip into lemon juice or vinegar as shown in figure 14.2. Take care that the ends are not more than 1 centimeter apart, but at the same time do not touch each other. Does the bulb of the tester glow? Does lemon juice or vinegar conduct electricity? How would you classify lemon juice or vinegar, a good conductor or a poor conductor of electricity? So you can see this is a circuit diagram. So you can see testing conduction of electricity in lemon juice or vinegar. So when the liquid between the two ends of the tester allows the current to pass through them, the circuit of the tester becomes complete. The current flows in the circuit and the bulb glows. When the liquid does not allow the electric current to pass, the circuit of the tester is not complete and the bulb does not glow. In some situation, even though the liquid is conducting, the bulb may not glow. It may be happened in the activity 14.2. What can be the reason? Do you remember why the bulb glows when the electric circuit current passes through them? So due to the heating effect of the current, the filament in the bulb gets heated to a high temperature and thus it starts glowing. However, if the current through a circuit is too weak, the filament does not get heated sufficiently and it does not glow. And why is the current in the circuit weak? Well, though a material may conduct electricity, it may not conduct it as easily as a metal. As a result, the circuit of the tester may be complete and yet the current through it may be too weak to make the bulb glow. Can we make another tester which can detect a weak current? So we can use another effect of an electric current to make another kind of tester. Do you recall that? Electric current produces a magnetic effect. So we have learned that. What happens to a compass needle kept nearby when the current flows in a wire? Even the current is small, the deflection in the magnetic needle can be seen. Can we make a tester using the magnetic effect of current? Let us find out in activity 14.3. So you may use a LED as in figure 14.3 in place of an electric bulb in the tester of figure 14.2. LED glows even when a weak electric current flows through it. So LED is very works in very less power. So there are two wires called leads attached to an LED. One lead is slightly longer than the other. So remember that while connecting us to a circuit, the longer lead is always connected to the positive terminal. So you should know that the longer lead, you can see here, is connected to the positive terminal of the battery, and the shorter lead is connected to the negative terminal of the battery. So activity 14.3, take a tray from inside a discarded matchbox, wrap an electric wire a few times around the tray. So you can see here they have wrapped electric wire, and then place a small compass needle inside it. Now connect one free end of the wire to one terminal of the battery, leave the other end free. Take another piece of wire and connect it to another terminal of the battery. So now join the free end of the two wires momentarily. The compass needle should show deflection. Your tester with two free ends of the wire is ready. So now repeat activity 14.2 using this tester. Do you find a deflection in the compass needle the moment of dip the free end of the tester in lemon juice? So you can see here, take out the ends of the tester from the lemon juice, dip them in water, and then wipe them dry. So repeat the activity with other liquids such as tap water, vegetable oil, milk, honey. Remember to wash off and wipe the dry the end of tester after testing each liquid. In each case, observe whether the magnetic needle shows deflection or not. Record your observation in table 14.2. So you can see there are materials, and compass needle shows deflection or not, and then good conductor or bad conductor you can write here, like lemon juice, vinegar, tap water, vegetable oil, milk, honey, and you can add more. From table 14.1 we find that some of the liquid are good conductor of electricity and some of them are poor conductor. When the free ends of the tester do not touch each other, there is an air gap between them. Paheli knows that air is a poor conductor of electricity, but she has also read that during lightning an electric current passes through air. She wonders if air is needed indeed a poor conductor under all conditions. This makes Bojo ask whether other materials classified as poor conductor also allow electricity to pass under them in certain conditions. So actually, under certain condition, most materials can conduct. That is why it is preferable to classify materials as good conductors and poor conductors instead of classifying as conductors and insulators. So we have tested the conduction of electricity to trap water. Let us now test the conduction of electricity to distilled water. So 14.4 activity, take about 2 teaspoonful of distilled water in a clean and dry plastic or rubber cap of a bottle. You may obtain distilled water from your school science lab. You may also get distilled water from a medical store or a doctor or a nurse. So use the tester to test whether distilled water conducts electricity or not. What do you find? Does distilled water conduct electricity? Now dissolve a pinch of common salt in distilled water. Again test. What do you conclude this time? So when salt is dissolved in distilled water, we obtain salt solution. This is a conductor of electricity. So the water that we get from sources such as tap, hand pump, well and ponds is not pure. It may contain several salts dissolved in it. So a small amount of mineral salt are naturally present in it. This water is thus a good conductor of electricity. On the other hand, distilled water is free of salts and is a poor conductor of electricity. So Paheli says a small amount of mineral salt present naturally in water are beneficial for human health. However, this salt make water a good conductor. So we should never handle electrical appliances with wet hands and while standing on a wet floor. So here is a caution Paheli is giving. We have found that common salt when dissolved in distilled water makes it a good conductor of electricity. What are the other substances which when dissolved in a distilled water make it conducting? Let us find out. Caution, do not do the next activity under the supervision of your teacher, parent or some elderly person because the use of acid is involved in it. So activity 14.5, take 3 clean plastic or rubber caps of bottle, pour about 2 teaspoonful of distilled water in each of them, add a few drops of lemon juice or dilute hydrochloric acid to distilled water in one cap. Now in the second cap containing distilled water, add a few drops of base such as caustic acid or potassium iodide. Now add a little sugar to the distilled water in the third cup and dissolve it. Test which solution conduct electricity and which does not. What result do you obtain? So most liquid that conduct electricity are solutions of acids, base and salts. When an electric current flows through a conducting solution, does it produce an effect on the solution? So chemical effects of electric current in class 7 we learned that some effects of electric current. We can you list these effects. What effect does the current produce when it flows through a conducting solution? Let us find out. So activity 14.6, take out carbon rods carefully from two discarded cell. So you can take carbon rods and then clean them their metal caps with sandpaper. Wrap copper wires around the metal caps of the iron rods and join them to a battery as in figure 15.4 14.45. We call these two rods electrodes. So you can see these are electrodes, carbon rods as electrodes. So you can see a circuit diagram of passing current through water. Here is a metal cap, iron rod, water and carbon rod. So carbon rods, you may take two iron nails about 6 centimeter long, pour a cup full of water in a glass plastic bowl, add a teaspoonful of salt or a few drops of lemon juice to the water to make it more conducting. Now immerse the electrodes in this solution. Make sure that the metal caps of the iron carbon rods are outside the water. Wait for 3-4 minutes. Observe the electrode carefully. Do you notice any gas bubble near the electrodes? Can you call the change taking place in the solution a chemical change? Recall the definition of the chemical change that you learnt in class 7th. So in 1800, a British chemist William Nicholson, who lived between 1753 to 1815, had shown that if electrodes were immersed in water and a current was passed through it, bubbles of oxygen and hydrogen were produced. Oxygen bubbles formed on the electrode connected to the positive terminal and the battery, and the hydrogen bubbles formed on the other electrode. So the passage of an electric current through a conducting solution causes chemical reaction. As a result, bubbles of gas may be formed on the electrode. So deposits of metals may be seen on electrode. Changes of color of solution may also occur. The reaction would depend on what solution and electrode are used. These are some of the chemical effects of the electric current. So we have learned the chemical effects of electric current. So Bojo decides to test whether some fruits and vegetables also conduct electricity or not. He cuts a potato into two halves and inserted the copper wire of the tester into it. Just then his mother called him and he forgot to take out the wires of the testers inserted in the potato. When he came back after half an hour, he noticed that there was a greenish blue spot on the potato around one wire, whereas there was no such spot around the other. So you can see here greenish spot on the potato. So you can see here he testing potato is the figure. He was surprised with this observation and along with Paheli repeated this activity many times. They found that it was always the wire connected to the positive terminal which had a greenish blue spot around it. So they felt that the discovery was very useful because it could be used to identify the positive terminal of the cell of battery concealed in a box. So they decided to report their finding to a children's magazine. Remember that Bojo set out to test whether potato conducted electricity or not. What he found was the current produced a chemical effect on the potato. To him, this was very exciting. In fact, this is how science sometimes works. So you are looking for something and you discover something else. Many important discoveries have been made in this manner. So electroplating, you know that a brand new bicycle has shiny handlebar and wheel rims. However, if these are accidentally scratched, the shiny coating comes off and revealing a not so shiny surface beneath. You might have also seen women using ornaments which appear to be made of gold. However, with repeated use, the gold coating thereof revealing silver or some other metal beneath it. So in both these cases, a metal has a coating of another metal. Do you wonder how a layer of one metal can be deposited on the surface of the other metal? Well, let us try to understand this by doing an activity. 14.7, we will need copper sulfide and two copper plates of size around 10 cm into 4 cm. Take 250 ml of distilled water in a clean and dry beaker. So dissolve 2 teaspoonful of copper sulfate in it. Add a few drops of dilute sulfuric acid to copper sulfate solution to make it more conducting. Clean copper plates with sandpaper. Now rinse them with water and dry them. Connect the copper plates to the terminals of a battery and immerse them in copper sulfate solution as in figure 14.7. You can see. So you can see copper plate, these two, and there is a copper sulfate solution. So a simple circuit showing electroplating. Allow the current to pass through for 15 minutes. Now remove the electrode from the solution and look at them carefully. Do you find Any difference in any of one of them? So do you find a coating over it? What color is the coating? Note that the terminal of the battery with which this electrode is connected. So you can see. So Paheli says after doing the electroplating activity, Paheli interchanged the electrodes and repeated the activity. What do you think she would have observed this time? So when electric current is passed through the copper sulfide solution, copper sulfide dissociates into copper and sulfite. So the free copper gets drawn to the electrode connected to the negative terminal. So it is a effect of the battery and gets deposited on it. So but what about the loss of copper from the solution? From the other electrode, a copper plate, an equal amount of copper gets dissolved in the solution. Thus the loss of copper from the solution is restored and the process continues. This means that copper gets transferred from one electrode to other. So Bojo says Bojo could get only one copper plate, so he performed activity 14.7 by connecting a carbon rod in place of the copper plate which is connected to the negative terminal of the battery. He succeeded in obtaining a coating of copper on red carbon rod. So the process of depositing a layer of any desired metal on another material by means of electricity is called electroplating. It is one of the most common application of chemical effects of electric current. Electroplating is very useful process. It is widely used in industries for coating metal objects with a thin layer of different metal. So you can see in figure 14.8, you can see here electroplated materials like rims, cars, and many other things like bicycle handles and other plates and etc. So you can see here the layer of metal deposited has some desired property which the metal of the object lacks. For example, chromium plating is done on many objects such as car parts, bar taps, kitchen gas burners, bicycle handlebars, wheel rims, and many other objects. So chromium has a shiny appearance. It does not corrode. It resists scratches. However, chromium is expensive and it may not be economical to make the whole object out of chromium. So the object is made from a cheaper metal and only a coating of chromium over it is deposited. Jewelry makers use makers electroplate silver and gold on less expensive metal. These ornaments have the appearance of silver and gold but are much less expensive. So tin cans used for storing food are made from electroplating tin into iron. So tin is less reactive than iron. So thus food does not come in contact with the iron and it is protected from being spoiled. So iron is used in bridges and automobiles to provide strength. However, iron tends to corrode and rust. So a coating of zinc is deposited on iron to protect it from corrosion and formation of rust. So in electroplating factories, the disposal of the used conducting solution is a major concern. It is polluting waste and there are specific disposal guidelines to protect the environment. So here the chapter is finished and we'll start the next chapter in the next class.